here. And I'm here too. So you know what that means. This is Frightfully Wondrous. Today we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but they're all really kind of the same thing. The thing we're going to be talking about a lot, which is about kindness and people and how to people a little better and how to be kind a lot more and how to start conversations that help everybody do that a little bit better. And as you know, I'm an expert in absolutely nothing, so take everything I say with a huge grain of salt. Like, just get a salt lick and then just watch this entire thing. Watch the entire thing because people put effort into making this happen for y'all. So the least amount of effort was put in by me. All I had to do was stand here and talk. So check it out, stick around, ask questions, start conversations. Tell me how those conversations went. I want to know. Today we're going to be talking about shame, discrimination, prejudice, and privilege. And I know on the outskirts those seem like four very big, very different topics. Each one of them could easily be an hour-long conversation all on its own. But I wanted to combine them here for a second so that you could get a relative understanding of how they play into your life and how they play into the lives of those around you. Because I don't want to talk about people and point out any sort of groups. I brought spoons. Spoons. Okay, so imagine an entire universe of spoons. Okay, and you have some fancy spoons that nobody would ever throw away that are part of like some sort of designer set, and you have some plastic spoons that, you know, people throw away before they're even used, and you have spoons designed for children, and oh my gosh, look, you have the spoon that went to jail. This is a felon spoon. And all of these spoons have to live together in the spoon drawer. Now, it's just a normal way of functioning to see differences. The differences aren't intended to hurt one another. The differences are not intended to demean anybody. It's just a simple fact. These are not the same spoon. They are, in fact, all spoons, though. And examples of all those different types of things. Now, all four of these spoons can experience shame. It doesn't matter if it is the spoon that has more financial value. It doesn't matter if it's the spoon that brings people more joy. It doesn't matter if it's the spoon that has more life experience or the spoon that is made so many times because of its popularity. No, all of these spoons can experience shame. Shame is when the community of spoons gives this one reason, a single one reason, to internalize a sense of being less than. Especially when it's a characteristic that is inherent or unavoidable or unerasable. This spoon isn't in jail anymore. But maybe people still want to make her feel like she is. And this spoon has actually worked really, really hard for its life. But maybe people don't want to see that. And this spoon is actually very mature and has had and witnessed many huge connections and important moments. But maybe people don't see that. And this spoon is maybe somebody's favorite. And somebody doesn't want to see that either. And when those people put those ideas in these spoons' heads, they go to sleep at night feeling bad about the way that they are, and that is shame. That is something that you can experience regardless of privilege, regardless of who you are on the outside. The only thing that stops shame is the spoon's recognition that they are the best they can be. Not only that, but the erasing of silence, when the spoon speaks out and owns their truth and is met with empathy, then that spoon stops experiencing shame. Unfortunately, shame is something that spoon has to solve all on its own. These spoons can do a better job of not making the spoons feel shamed. There are words they can use that are better, there are actions that they can take or that are softer, but that's how shame works. Now, prejudice is a little bit different. Prejudice is you look at a glance and assume something about the spoon. You see this spoon and you think, well, it came from some sort of important designer set. This spoon must have an easy life. This spoon must think it's better than everybody else. And you're just guessing. You don't know anything about this spoon. You don't know anything about this spoon. All right? This spoon could have dedicated its entire life to charitable works. You have no idea. Now, prejudice is a biological imperative. It's built into us. It's built into us so that we don't just run around eating all the pretty red berries outside, because some are poisonous and some are delicious red berries. And so the only way we know not to eat them all is by some little part of our brain saying, hey, maybe you should take the outside environment of that single berry and think about it before you eat it. Now, prejudice is not intended to change our ability to understand this person's story or truth. These spoons can't help glancing at the spoon and assuming a story. We are storytellers at heart, spoons and people. But they can stop themselves from letting their story be a truer story, or even an equivalently true story to the true story of the spoon. That's prejudice. Now, discrimination is a little bit more trackable. Discrimination is when someone says, go ahead and put all the plastic spoons in a different drawer because they're disposable. Now, maybe this plastic spoon wants to be in this drawer with all the other spoons. Maybe it doesn't feel disposable. That's discrimination. So discrimination is very fixable by the rest of the spoons. It's not just the responsibility of the rest of the spoons to say something. It's their job. It's their job as part of the community to say, no, that's not cool. That is not acceptable. We do not separate people based on things that they cannot help. We do not break apart our community to make somebody else feel better about the purity of it. That is not acceptable. And if they don't use their voice, then this never gets solved. That's discrimination. Privilege. Privilege is the hardest of the four to understand because almost everybody has some level of privilege. If you are watching this video, you are in a tiny percentage of the world that has access to this kind of information through this format. You have privilege. Now, the kind of privilege you have, the amount of privilege you have, and how you choose to implement the privilege, that is something within your control. The rest of that was given to you by sheer geography, by default of your birth. This spoon is not a spoon people throw away, just because of how it was made. It has nothing to do with anything this spoon has done with its life. Okay, this spoon has privilege. When you come from a position of privilege, like this spoon, you may not understand that not every spoon had the same chance. Not only did not every spoon have the same chance, but that every single day, these other spoons are fighting a battle that you can't imagine. It never occurred to you that someone would throw you away. It never occurred to them that they might survive a day. It's privilege. That said, I'm gonna put down the spoons. When we talk about any of these four topics, they mesh together. And because they mesh together, it's important that you open your mind wide enough to understand them when you talk about any aspect of them. Because almost everybody is coming from a place of hurt in one of those four almost entirely unavoidable categories. You can't help your privilege. You probably can't help your prejudice, although you can tone that down a bit. You can control shame once it hits you, but who knows how long it took you to accumulate that shame, how long it took you to fight that shame, how long it took you to absorb that shame. And you don't know what that other guy is fighting. Discrimination, though, that is something we can change. And that is something where we need to focus our attention when we focus on things. So, that said, that is shame, discrimination, prejudice, and privilege. And how they interplay together makes a huge difference. That's just a quick soundbite. I don't know if it helps at all, but I just want to start there so we can move on to other conversations. Because sometimes concepts that should be simple to us, sometimes concepts that we've heard thrown around a lot, over and over and over again, just kind of sail by us, or we constantly trip over them. The world is so full of ideas that are easy to trip over. And I just want the world to be a little bit more flat, you know? Round, smooth. Smooth so that you can walk forward and not fall quite so much. And if people are coming from a same place of open-mindedness, conversations happen easier and they lead to better things. So that's what we're trying to do here. If you have ideas for other things we can discuss and break down into kid-sized language, if you have questions, ask them. Somebody will answer them. If you want to get in touch with me in any other way, please do. You can find me at Twitter and Instagram and my blog. You can find me at Patreon. You can find me all over the place. So find me, connect, come by and say hey. I would love to talk to you. I would love to continue this conversation. I hope you have a great day, a frightfully wondrous day, a good day. And I hope you make somebody else's day pretty good too. Thanks for stopping by.